Right, this is part 3 then of the sucker removal. You've seen part 1 and 2, this is part 3. This is the trispinosus sucker that I just took off in part 2 of a plant in the front garden. It's a bit dirty now, it's got a bit of damage, it's got some damaged roots and so on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wash this. I like to wash the suckers just that I can see exactly what's going on, see where there was damage that I can seal later with fungicide. Just clean it up nicely like this, get all the soil off there. That's fine. Just get an idea. There's where the sucker was attached onto the mother plant over there, and now we'll take the process further and we'll see what we can find. Okay, so we've removed the sucker from the plant, we've cleaned it nicely. Now we're going to seal it, and this is probably the most important step of the whole process, because we need to make sure that the sucker survives. So what we need is a big knife like this. I use a bread knife, find this to be very effective. We've got our fungicide sealant, we've got our hormone powder, rooting powder, and we've got a pen and a tag to mark the sucker. The first part is the part that very few people believe, and that is to cut this bottom part where the roots are completely off. So we're going to go just above these damaged roots, and we're going to give the sucker a very clean cut like that. That is what you want to see. You don't want the roots have been damaged. You want a clean surface like this. Your new roots are going to develop around the periphery of that wound. Here, where the sucker was attached to the mother plant, we want to clean it a little bit like that. So what we need, we want fresh cut stem material here without any little bits and pieces and damaged bits. The next step to do is to add rooting powder to these fresh surfaces here. I'll add it generously, rub it like that. Make sure that all your surfaces where you want your new roots to appear have got rooting powder. This rooting powder just contains butyric acid, and it's can be found at any nursery. So you're going to rub that on there. There's going to be some gum coming out of this wound. That's perfectly normal, and it even helps the rooting powder to stick onto the sucker. The last step before we plant the sucker is to seal with any fungicide sealant. This one from Effecto Steady Seal works very well. It contains two fungicides and is used widely for this purpose. So we apply the sealant like that, and then we start rubbing it in. The powder will remain there, it's not a problem, but you want this pink sealant to cover this wound completely. Remember, this is your fungicide. This is going to prevent rot later on. The next step is, before we plant the sucker, to measure it. I use one of these calipers, and we measure the plant because we're going to plant this bulb under the ground, so you're not going to see the size anymore. So I've measured it, and this plant is 14 centimeters. So I'm going to mark it 14 centimeters, and I know it's a male plant and it's a trispinosus. The last step now is to plant the sucker. Some people wait for this to dry off. I think for the purpose of this demonstration it's not necessary, but you could do that overnight. Plant the sucker. The most important part is to plant it deeply. It's got to be deeply planted. You don't want the ball to emerge above the ground. You've got to plant it deeply and cover with soil up to about the crown of the sucker. I finished planting the sucker now. I planted it deep, like I said. I used a very well drained soil. We'll show you what that looks like in a moment. The question then always is the mother plant, which has also been damaged. use the series seal, seal the mother plant, leave that open for a day or two for sure, and then you can close it with the soil and the plant will be fine. If we look at the soil we used for the sucker, you can see it's a well-drained, coarse soil with a lot of organic matter in it. This is a brilliant soil. It drains nicely. It's about a 30% rough, coarse sand. If we've done this job in a few months' time, we hope to see this. This is a Nubi Montana sucker that I planted about 4 or 5 months ago. And you can see the roots coming out of all 5 of the drainage holes. This series helped you a bit, growing cycads from seeds, propagating them. We have to do this. We have to save these plants. So you're welcome to contact me on my Facebook page, Cycad Collectors Products. If you need any advice, many of you know me. You're welcome to contact me at any time. I hope this process has taught you something and that you enjoy growing your cycads. All the best.